Well, good morning. I hope you're enjoying the convention, and I hope you will continue to enjoy it today. We're going to have some tremendous speakers as we had yesterday, and so you will not be disappointed. I want to give you a brief update on your organization, RCAP USA, and I want to start with, we have about 4,000 voluntary dues-paying members from 43 states across the United States. And these are all farmers and ranchers that are supporting what we're all doing. And of course, I'm your staff member, and we have 3 others out in the hallway that have put this convention together. I've had very little to do with it. And the gratitude goes to my daughters out there, Candace Bullard, Carrie Walling, Jaden Moreland, who you've seen throughout the convention in the convention floor, and Tiff Robertson, who we've kind of adopted as a staff member just because we work so close with her. So if you're enjoying this convention, they're the reasons why. So there has been, in addition to what you're hearing from the speakers, there have been legislative issues that we have been pursuing throughout the year, and there have been administrative rulemaking issues that we have been working on. And as you know, we aggressively work in all 3 branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And as you're fully aware, we had filed a national antitrust class action lawsuit against the Big 4 Packers. You're going to hear from our attorney, your attorney. Today is an update on that case. We're currently in the discovery process. We have also, we're involved in litigation, continuing litigation with the beef checkoff program. And David Maraskin, our attorney, will be speaking about that, an update on that case today. And recently we were involved in a RFID, radio frequency identification ear tag issue, and Congresswoman Harriet Hageman, before she became Congresswoman Harriet Hageman, represented us successfully and prevented the USDA from accomplishing their objective of RFID by 2023. That didn't happen. Didn't happen because of you. And so we're going to hear from Congresswoman Harriet Hageman again. And we are, again, looking at the prospects of needing to litigate in order to preserve and protect the freedoms and liberties of our independent cattle producers here in the United States of America. We had the 2024 Farm Bill. We had a speaker that was going to be speaking specifically about country of origin labeling today, Patty Lavera, and her plane was delayed, and now that there's fog, I'm not sure she's going to make it in here from Denver. We'll see. But in addition to, within the 2024 Farm Bill, of course, we want to put the issues, we need to put the issues that you have all been working on for so long. We need mandatory country of origin labeling in the 2024 Farm Bill. We need the reforms of the beef checkoff program, and we need to address and reform the anti-competitive practices that are occurring in your fed cattle market that affect every class of cattle from birth till they arrive at the packer gate. And so those issues are lingering, and of course we have an election that's delayed the entire Farm Bill legislative process. The House version has passed the House Ag Committee. It does not contain the issues that we need for this industry. The Senate has issued a framework of a 2024 Farm Bill, has yet to have a hearing on that. The hearing is where we intend to include mandatory country of origin labeling, as well as the Opportunities for Fairness in Farming Act, which is the reform of the beef checkoff program. And so we're working with other coalitions, other groups, in order to create synergies, greater strength in Congress in order to accomplish that. And as you're probably aware, Senator Mike Rounds from South Dakota is circulating a letter in urging his colleagues to join him as other senators in requesting our Senate Agricultural Committee to include mandatory country of origin labeling for beef. And we've been sending around emails and texts and urging you to call your members of Congress to urge the senators in your state to join on to that Senator Rounds letter. And so the 4,000 voluntary members that we have, our means of communicating to you through our staff is various. We have the magazine that is our principal communication tool that we communicate to you the status of the issues that we continue to work on. But in addition to that, we've upgraded the social media contacts. And so much of our daily work actually is available to you through Facebook and Twitter and other things that I'm not involved in. I don't know how they work. But in any event, we also continue to use what is now old-fashioned email. And very recently, we put together kind of a we put together a means of reaching you immediately when immediate phone calls are needed. Many of you have probably received a text regarding the Senator Rounds letter while you were here yesterday. And so this is an example of how we can create some immediate pressure on members of Congress to enact those pieces of legislation, the initiatives that are very important to us. In the rulemaking front, as you're aware, there's been a number of administrative rules, some good, some bad. Andy Green from the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture's office was here yesterday talking about the good ones, and we were involved in every step of that rulemaking process for implementing the Packers and Stockyards Act in a manner that protects the poultry producers of America and all livestock and even dairy. These rules are extremely important to ensure that we have competitive markets for you to continue marketing your livestock into. But in addition to the good rules that have been promulgated, there was a rule that now mandates radio frequency identification or electronic identification ear tags in cattle. We argued vehemently against that rule in the rulemaking process. We failed, and USDA is pursuing that mandate nevertheless. We fully intend to stop that mandate, and we will use all of the legal and ethical means to do so, and we will stop that rule. And USDA came out with a rule that was, in their infinite wisdom, they believed that we needed even more imports in the United States. And there's a little country called Paraguay that is not free of foot and mouth disease. Nevertheless, the U.S. Department of Agriculture promulgated a rule to allow fresh beef into the United States. We went to Congress and asked them to overturn the rule. There's a tool to do that. It's called the Congressional Review Act. And in that Congressional Review Act, the Congress can pass a resolution that would effectively overturn a rule that Congress believes has been accomplished through overreach and otherwise inappropriate for American citizens. The Paraguay beef rule was targeted by Congress. In the U.S. Senate, we have Senator Mike Rounds, Senator John Tester joined together and passed a resolution of disapproval in the Senate, and by a record margin, it was a vote by 70 to 20 to overturn that USDA rule. And now that resolution of disapproval is in the House of Representatives, and it has to be passed there. Once passed there, signed by the President, it will effectively nullify that Paraguay rule. So now, Congresswoman Harriet Hageman, who we'll hear from later, I won't say much about it, has followed that same model on the most recent USDA effort to mandate electronic identification ear tags on all adult cattle shipped across state lines. So that'll be exciting to learn today, and we need to get to work because we're going to need to have every member of Congress that of those of you that are represented here, we need them in full support of the position to overturn that rule. I have no idea how much time we're supposed to be. Nobody gave me a clock. Nobody whistled at me yet. No. Jane, where are we at? So for how long? 3 minutes. So the Packers and Stockyards rule, and what we didn't talk a lot about yesterday was the third rule, the one that was actually what we viewed to be the real meat of the 1921 Packers and Stockyards Act. And that's a prohibition against unfair, deceptive, and unjustly discriminatory practices. That's also the one that includes the issue that has been confused and obfuscated by our opponents, and that's the one regarding competitive injury. whether you as a producer, in order to receive protections against anti-competitive practices and unfair practices of the packers, whether or not you would first have to prove to the court that the harm that you incurred caused harm to the entire industry's competitiveness, called injury to competition. You would first have to prove there is injury to the entire competitiveness of your industry before you could bring a case to protect your individual interests, even if you were financially or economically injured by the inappropriate conduct of multinational meat packers in our industry. And so that issue has been circulated and has been debated now for well over a decade. And we are fully expecting the USDA to promulgate a rule that makes it crystal clear that there are protections in the Packers and Stockyards Act that are available to you without you needing to prove competitive injury first. And of course, that's the meat packers are on the other side of this issue, and so is the other conventional organization out there. And that's a critical issue as to whether or not the Packers and Stockyards Act is a toothless tiger, or if it is actually an effective means of ensuring competitive and fair markets for U.S. cattle producers. And so that rule is expected anytime, and when it is issued, we will, the proposed rule anyway, we'll get to work on writing comments and provide some recommendations for you if you'd like to individually submit comments on that. But right now, today, the most important issue that we have before us is the mandatory country of origin labeling letter that Senator Rounds is circulating. So if you haven't called your senators, please do so today, because the letter closes on Monday. And this is, if we look at the opportunities that we have had to influence the outcome of country of origin labeling, first it was the 2002 Farm Bill, in which country of origin labeling was initially enacted. And then it was the 2008 Farm Bill that the amendments were made to it. And then there was nothing. We lost school in 2015. And now we have the 2024 Farm Bill. If we don't get it done now, the prospects are that we will have to spend or wait 5 more years for the next Farm Bill. We can't do that. We must pass mandatory country of origin labeling in the 2024 Farm Bill. We have champions in the Senate to do it. We need each of your senators to join with us to accomplish that important task. So I want to give you a quick update on the number of the affiliates of RCAF USA. We have worked to maintain direct communications with our affiliates on issues like this. In fact, we have encouraged them to get involved before the convention started, even though this is happening right now. But our conventions, our affiliates are extremely important to RCAF USA, because you are on the ground in your state. Many of our affiliates are very active in their respective state legislatures, and as a result of that, the state legislatures are talking to their congressional delegations from those respective states. So an issue that begins in your state legislature is made aware of by the affiliates to your congressional delegation, and suddenly there's a movement underway that Congress begins to understand and respect, and knowing that there is widespread support for particular issues. What you start at your state level helps strengthen our ability to accomplish the objective on a national level, and vice versa. The national issues that we work on, without the help of our state affiliates, we would get very little traction. But as a result of all of your efforts and your involvement in your respective state organizations, we together have the ability to move the mountain, and we've been moving mountains, and we'll continue to do so.